Welcome to the FlexSym series equipment overview for Tellabs Optical LAN. The purpose of this video is to introduce system hardware and features available with the Tellabs Optical LAN FlexSym series products. The topics covered in this video will be the FlexSym OLT6, OLT1, and Mini OLT, the OIU8 PON card, the PON fiber optic combiner, and the ONT 205, 248, and 202. The Tellabs FlexSym series is a symmetrical 10 gigabit XGS PON solution that provides significantly more flexibility to design an enterprise local area network for both commercial and federal government customers. The Tellabs FlexSym solution provides the unique ability to serve both 10 gig and GPON on the same system, and even on the same PON service card, providing infinite options and a graceful migration to future higher speed network needs. The backbone of the optical LAN network is the optical line terminal. The OLT6 is only 5 rack units high, yet can support 8,192 Ethernet access connections using the ESU32 card. With enhanced ESU capabilities, this shelf will be able to support over 16,000 access ports and provide a backplane throughput of 40 gigs for each of the 4 PON slots. The OLT is AC powered and supports dual power rectifier units. Using the Optical Interface Unit 8, the OLT6 shelf can support a full 32 PON ports. Each PON port on the OIU8 can be configured to support either GPON or 10 gig XGS PON capabilities. PON ports may support up to 64 ONTs and 512 UniPorts on both GPON and XGS PON configurations. The card could also be used in legacy 1134 and 1150 OLT shelves. However, backplane throughput of the card is capable of 40 gigs when used with the OLT6 shelf and new enhanced ESUs. The OIU8, like earlier PON cards, supports PON protection groups. PPG is an availability feature of PON that enables a secondary PON port to support a splitter in the event of a primary PON failure. PON failure can occur when a PON span is cut, a transceiver fails, or an internal error on the PON card stops the PON interface. In that event, the secondary PON port will gain control of the ONT group on the splitter and support continued operation. The OIU8 card provides a non-revertive process for PON protection. That is, when the primary PON port regains functionality, the secondary PON continues to control the ONT group until the PON is forced to revert to the primary. Also, no attenuation on the secondary PON port is needed when using the OIU8. Because GPON and XGS PON work on different wavelengths, they can both occupy a single fiber with no interference. For flexibility in a PON infrastructure, it may be desirable to use both GPON and XGS PON ONTs on the same optical splitter. To achieve this, a single GPON port and XGS PON port can be combined on the physical layer of the PON span. A PON fiber combiner has 2 upstream interfaces, one for GPON and one for XGS PON. It has a single common downstream interface for connection to the splitter. Using this configuration, both the GPON and XGS PON ONT interfaces can be established on the same splitter. In the future, there are no foreseen wavelength conflicts. This ensures that as bandwidth increases, no disruptive rip and replace of PON infrastructure will be necessary. The OLT1 is 1 rack unit high and is powered by redundant power supplies. The 8 PON ports are the equivalent of a single OIU8 card. This unit supports up to 512 ONTs and over 4,000 Ethernet ports. There's also an integrated ESU32 providing 4 1 gig and 2 10 gig uplink interfaces. Note that the OLT1 is shipped with a single power supply and AC power cord. Secondary power supply and power cords are sold separately. The Tellabs FlexSym OLT Mini provides a small form factor OLT supporting 2 ports of either GPON or symmetrical 10 gigabit XGS PON. Unique to this OLT is the 40 gigabit uplink capacity that can be used in a linear or ring network design. The Tellabs FlexSym OLT Mini weather-tight case, passive cooling, and extended temperature range means it is ideal for both indoor and outdoor connectivity. All of these features optimize the OLT Mini for transportation, manufacturing, utilities, and natural resources industries as it solves their difficult connectivity challenges of sprawling distances, harsh environments, and extended temperature ranges. The XGS-PON Tellabs FlexSym 205 ONT provides flexible and symmetrical extended Ethernet connectivity over a passive optical network at multi-rate 1 gig, 2.5 gig, 5 gig, and 10 gig Ethernet speeds. Along with a single 10 gig multi-rate port, the 205 has 4 1 gig uniports for access connectivity. The maximum PoE power is 140 watts, and each port is capable of up to 60 watts of PoE power. If a customer chooses to leave the last 100 meters of copper cabling in place and not touch the final access drop in the walls, then closet-based ONTs can be chosen. In fact, with the 48-port XGS-PON Tellabs FlexSym 248 ONT, an economical one-to-one closet-based workgroup switch replacement is possible. Power, cable, and cable management all stay the same. The ONT 248 can support all 48 ports with 4-pair PoE supporting 802.3 AF, AT, BT, and all 48 ports supplying 60 watts per port, with a total capacity of up to 2100 watts possible with dual power supplies utilized. The Tellabs FlexSym ONT 202 provides flexible choices for connecting modern wireless access points, including IEEE 802.1ax, Wi-Fi 6, and future wireless technologies over a fiber-based enterprise network. With the Tellabs FlexSym ONT 202, multi-rate Ethernet for 1 gig, 2.5 gig, 5 gig, and 10 gig can be positioned near the Wi-Fi endpoints to provide the optimal bandwidth needed. Additionally, Tellabs FlexSym ONT 202 industrial temperature range and high power PoE capacity makes it well suited for outdoor IP surveillance cameras support where high resolution cameras such as HD and 4K monopolize bandwidth. The ONT 202's high power PoE is also important to support the camera heaters and pan tilt zoom. The ONT 202 is plenum rated and has a metal enclosure for a full range of mounting options. This concludes this video. In it, we have learned the FlexSym OLT6, OLT1, and OLT Mini, the OIU8 PON card, the PON fiber optic combiner, and the ONT 205, 248, and 202.